did 2 different snorkeling experiences. One was during the day and one was during the night. The night one was our second one, and we were all really worried because we thought we were going to be very cold. But when you snorkel, at least off the shores of California where we were, you have to wear a 7mm thick wetsuit, so it's about that thick. But it's very thick, and it actually makes you so buoyant that if you stop swimming, well, you don't have to swim in the first place, you just float. So even the non-swimmers of the group who couldn't swim a lap to save their life just floated on top of the water, which was pretty cool. So for the night snorkel, we had a couple people who were pretty scared of being in the water in general and of the night. So we each got a flashlight with our partner, and my partner was Michael, who's one of the other teachers, and he was very anxious about getting in the water. So he made me hold the flashlight. And so we got in the water, and fish, the little fish, and maybe some of the bigger fish, were attracted to the flashlight. So I'm holding the flashlight, Michael's swimming near me, and suddenly, and this happened a couple different times, I was getting hit with fish. So they were so attracted to the flashlight, they would just swim right into me and hit me. But we saw a lot of other cool things too. So I saw two more moray eels coming out of their little caves in the rocks. And there were lobsters along the bottom of the floor, which is where they eat, because they're nocturnal. We saw a bunch of fish swimming around. There were little sharks, like only about this big, so nothing that was gonna, come anywhere near us.
Okay, so what we learned about before going out night snorkeling, what we were supposed to look for was bioluminescence. What that is the glowing stuff in the water. So we swam in the water, and once we turned off our flashlights, all you saw were every time you moved, you saw sparkles or glitter or something. It was so cool. The experience itself, night snorkeling, was just awesome.
Okay, so it was my first snorkeling, my first night snorkel, and I thought it was really cool because when we turned off all the flashlights, we saw things glowing, and every time we moved, it sparkled, and it was like swimming in space. It was cool.
Day snorkeling, we saw animals like stingrays. They have a big dock that we went under, and it was just a bunch of fish. They all go under there because it's dark, and they have a rock wall, and you saw a bunch of fish at the side. You saw different animals in it. We saw a eel. That was awesome. I mean, I've never seen an eel either before, so.
Okay, so one of the other things we did besides snorkeling was go hiking, and the reason we went hiking was not just a hike, although many of us liked the exercise, but it was to see different marine mammals. So we had one student who was recording information, the other ones were looking with binoculars or just with their eyes for different mammals. So there's a couple different things they were looking for, including sea lions, harbor seals, we saw a green sea turtle, and then they were also counting boats. So the reason that they cared about what boats were in the surrounding area was that the area right around Catalina Island there is a fairly new marine protected habitat. And so boats are not allowed to fish anywhere in there or put their anchors down because it hurts the seafloor, whatever's growing there. So they take note of what boats are there for recreation, which is fine, but which boats are not cooperating with the marine protected area, and they'll actually call them the Coast Guard, I believe it's the Coast Guard, in and take care of that problem because it's actually against the law to put your anchor down and or fish in those areas. So sometimes they would see a boat that was just beyond, a couple feet beyond the actual border. I don't know. Sometimes they'd watch for boats that were just along the edge and just make sure that they were doing what they were supposed to, basically, so that they could protect the area around them, which is important for their research because they're doing research on fishing habits, how much fish are being taken out of the water, and just at different habitats in that area.
While kayaking, we were looking for animals, and we saw sea lions, harbor seals, my bad, and we had 2 locations we would look at. We had a big green buoy that we went out to, and you'd have a bunch that would just lay on it, chilling out. Seals. Sea lions, yeah. And Then they had outside of the island, not that far, they had like a big rock, and it was called Bird Rock. It was all white, and it stunk so bad. It was full of birds, and there were some sea harbors on that, or harbor seals. And then for fun, we went in a cave, which was cool. Right around there was a reef that we would kayak over, and we would kayak and we'd record how many animals we saw on that island or on the buoy.
The reason that it was stinky was because it was white, because there were so many birds that lived on there and excreted their waste onto the rock. So you could see this white rock from way far away. And one of the cool things, the story that they told us was that, so if you look at this rock, it's gray around the edges, white all on top, and then right in the middle is this green area where there's some random plants growing. They told us that there was one species of plant, which I don't remember what it was, but they thought it had gone extinct from the island because it was only found on the island. And one day, a researcher or someone went out there and found that because of the seeds that birds drop, that plant that they thought had gone extinct was only on Bird Rock. So they actually, I think they brought a sample back from Bird Rock and have now gotten it to the point where it's now back on the island to some extent. So it's not considered extinct anymore because of Bird Rock and the birds that live on there.